Hello everybody, this is Bishop Doherty again. Today's question is, where did the idea for uniting in heart arise? So let me tell you a story. Back in the early church, St. Peter is reputed to have gone to Rome, where he was martyred, but he was trying to flee the city, kind of afraid of his fate. And on the way out of town, Christ appeared to him and said, Quo vadis, where are you going? In 1951, that was made into a whole movie starring Robert Taylor and Deborah Carr. Anyway, the same question applies for us today. Where are you going? And the church in each century has to ask that question of itself to be sure that we're fulfilling the mission that Christ has given us. The latest big event in the church that really took a good look at this was the Second Vatican Council, the council that was called without the church being under attack, where people had the time to look at whether we were fulfilling our service or not. And you have to remember that council was called after the death of 60 million people in World War II. So it wasn't just a pious exercise. The church had to ask itself, are we doing what we can for the good of the world? Are we doing as well as we can in terms of our individual discipleship? So the question comes up in every age, where are you going? And that's what we're dealing with Uniting in Heart. It was a time to step back, to stop, and kind of look at our structures and our activities. The church is in a different time now. We have different technology. The economy is different. Education is different. Healthcare is different. And so all of these things affect one another in terms of how we live, how we believe, how we relate to God or don't relate to God. And so the question is asked again, where are you going? So uniting in heart really is an examination of conscience for us, and it's producing some really wonderful fruit. I would suggest a couple of resources for you if you want to have the general idea of Catholicism. Father Robert Barron, now Bishop Barron, produced a series called Catholicism. It's on a shelf in many of our parish libraries. A lot of families own that. He's got a website called Word on Fire, very informative about how we are developing as a church across the culture. And the culture does affect how we hear the good news and also how we share it. The other thing that might be helpful is to pick up a church history. A lot of parish libraries may have these. I recommend something written within the last 25 years, simply because we have many better resources now to understand where the church has come from and where we might be going and how we should think of ourselves. I'll quote an old historian who said, if we try to plan for the future without knowing the past, it's like planting cut flowers. That's a pretty vivid image. So for us to go forward, let's learn about our past, but know also that we're listening each day for that voice of Christ. Where are you going?